Hello everybody and welcome back to another wonderful episode of Design Fix. I'm your host Kladi and I'm here with you for 1 hour to help fixing some design issue. For those of you that don't know the show yet, this show is offered to all of you from Adobe Live. In fact, you can apply and you can request help to fix your design during this hour together with me and the lovely Alex Lazaris, which is also co-hosting with me every other week. Lovely to see you, everybody in the chat here. Of course, I was looking at Sam Peterson. Hi, Sam. Hi, Alexander. Lovely to see you here. Barbara, thank you so much, everybody, for joining me. Today, we're live a little bit later, but I'm going to show you, we're going to crack on, and I'm going to also show you how to take part today's stream for your request. I'm going to jump into my screen real quick so you can head on iamkladi.com/designfix. Let me prepare the page for you and you can fill in the form in order to participate to the stream. Let me see. Here it is. So if you fill in the form over here, you find it right away on my own page, or as I said, iamkladi.com/designfix. You will be able to let me know what sort of help you need. If you need a logo, if you need a social media templates. Today we're going to be heavily working with social media templates. We're still going to keep the game up on Adobe Firefly. I've been watching all this stream. I was behind the scene working and watching, and also I have a reveal that I'm going to do in just a second once I finish the form here. So here, as you can see, you can let us know more about your business, your social media. We're going to give you a shout out. And of course, we're going to work for you and with you and for your business for this hour together. Don't forget to click the data consent. We're going to go live. So we need to know if we're able to show your assets online. So click on your request and email us. We look forward to hear from you so we can take you can take part to the stream. Today, we're going to feature Francis. And I'm so sorry if I'm not going to pronounce your name correctly, Cruikshank, I believe, with her lovely Aine studio. She's a pattern designer. That's one of her posts on Instagram. She doesn't have a full brand yet. She has a few ideas, so I'm here to help her out in particular regarding social media. So as I said, we're going to tackle that in Adobe Express. But before we get started, I said that I had a little promise that I was going to show you something. So let me go ahead and see if we can get to the right folder here where I can show you one of the previous maybe I can show you a case study. So one of the previous stream here, that's probably a good idea also to show you what this stream is about. So one of my first stream for Design Fix was to create a logo for an interior design company. I also had a lovely feedback. That was the request from you that it came from the email. And look what I got here. I don't know if I can actually show you. I have received the full garment with the logo embroidered. Isn't that super cool? Maybe I need to go on a full screen so you can see. Louise, lovely to see you here. Here it is. Maybe you can see it. Look how cool is that? That is the logo that I've designed in Design Fix, which is now printed and embroidered on some garment, and it's been shipped to me because I really adore that. So yeah, that's the magic of working together. So as I said, that was design FYI, an interior design company. That's one of the first projects we tackled together. Isn't that so cool? So excited. Dad, what are you doing in videos? Midnight in Italy. Go to sleep. I can see my dad in the chat. Ciao. Very excited about this, and this was our latest. Actually, Sandra with her lovely brand, she gave me such a lovely feedback as well. Again, we created the logo. We had a little bit of a revamp from this logo over here. You can see the before and after also for the previous. So that was design FYI, and that's the way that we pull it together. Today we're going to focus a little bit more on the social media aspect and the techniques on how to bring everything together rather than the logo itself. Alexandra say it's fun to make merch with your own stuff. Isn't that amazing? And it's good that like I created for someone else and then I got this lovely warm sweater with the logo that I created. Luis, salutation to the familia. I'm actually gonna fly out tomorrow. I'm very excited. Okay, so I probably should put this case study somewhere about all this lovely work that we've been doing. We've also been talking about Crafts Mike's lovely sauces, which we were super excited to work with. So I'm here to give a shout out basically to your business and to help you out alongside Alex, thanks to the lovely Adobe Live that is putting our time at your disposal to design together. So as I say, today we're going to be starting with Adobe Express. We usually work in Illustrator, so I always start in Illustrator, spend 90% of the time in Illustrator, which is unfair. So today I'm going to do a reverse. I'm going to spend the entire time, majority on Adobe Express and Firefly. Also, we're going to be going on Adobe Font, and then we're going to move inside Illustrator to create a pattern, because today business is all about pattern. Let me know in the chat if you have any question. If you want to know more about Illustrator, also there is my Instagram. We'll go there towards midstream just to have a little bit of break and give you more inspiration and more places where you can find tutorials to sharpen your skills and learn new technique with this wonderful Adobe app, because I love to use it together. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with the actual brief. So I'm just gonna go and copy in chat, and I'll keep having a look at the chat. So if you do have a question, feel free to ask questions about graphic design, about your branding. Maybe you're starting a business, maybe you're thinking to start a business, maybe you work with business. Let me know if you have any questions. So we're still reading the chat. I love how she's excited about the hoodie. Yes, a zip up. It's a cool zip up with a logo that I've designed during this hour at Design Fix. Full circle here. Okay, so let's go ahead and let me find the brief. So I'm just gonna go ahead and hide the email. Here it is. And as I said, I'm going to do everything in Adobe Express starting from the brief. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on the plus icon. And in this case, I'm not really bothered with the size of what I'm creating. I can just going to go with a card. In this case, again, I'm not bothered about the size. I just need a free white canvas where I can paste some text. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the text. And very simply here, I can go ahead and pick and select add your text. By doing so, I have these, every time that I select a tool from the left side, I have on the right side all the settings in order to modify and customize whatever I do inside Express. I love Express. You can create so much. Literally, as you can see, we're going to have the brief, and then we're going to develop the logo or just an idea of the logo. And then most importantly, we'll see what the brief request is quite a lot of help in social media. Okay, so look, that this fancy font is a little bit too hard to read with so much text, but don't worry, because under the edit text option, I can go ahead and find any other text. Maybe we can pick Gotham, which is a little bit easier to read. We can have a left align, which is even better, and make it a little bit smaller. There we go. So again, this is the brief. We can give it a title as well. So let's go ahead and real quick, because I like to make everything nice, I like to, there we go. We can very easily ungroup this text lock that is available for you. By the way, let me know in the chat if you have used Adobe Express before. It's amazing. Even if you're not a designer, if you're running a business, this is perfect for the kind of people that apply a Design Fix. Maybe you're starting your own business, you got too much to do, or you're a designer and you create all these amazing assets using Photoshop, Illustrator. Well, Express is the place where you can literally make any graphics you want and just send it to the world. Is absolutely amazing how quick it is. So here I'm just going to go ahead and delete this part of the group of the text that I don't want to use, and here I'm going to call it the brief. Here it is, so we know what this page is about. So the name of the business is Anna Studio. Brief description of the business. As you can see, the text is all here. So we know that Frances, because that's her name. Anna Studio is the name of the business. Frances wants to have a brand that is about luxury. As she creates pattern design, I've tried to reduce colors to black, gold, red, and slightly orange pink. I'm in the process of creating a word mark to make the brand name more unique and original. And this is the reason why I'm saying today I'm not gonna do like any other, which you can of course go ahead and review. I spent usually majority of the time of creating that logo mark. She's an artist, she's a designer, so I'm just gonna give her some sort of advice and show her how to use these amazing apps to make it easier for her. So I'm in the process of creating a name, thinking of making fluid with curves. Really appreciate review to have a consistent brand. And we're gonna focusing in particular on how to make it happen in social media, in the communication. But before we get started, I want to show you some example that I've been using by simply pulling a quote from the brief. So, sometimes if you have a question or a brief, Firefly can literally come and help you. I don't try to make things more complex. I just try to make it quite simple when I use these wonderful Gen AI tools. Sometimes I just literally copy and paste prompt from conversations. I try to make it as, conversational and easy to translate. I think that the more elaborate prompt will definitely give us results that are super intricate, but sometimes it's also just see how your natural way of writing or speaking can be translated into images. So what I've done here is literally got copy and pasted the objective that our lovely Frances had for her business, and look at that. Luxury fluid with curves, black, gold, red, and slightly orange pink pattern. That was literally our description, and I love our Firefly, and I'm just gonna go copy and paste and do that from scratch, because I know maybe some of you have not tried Adobe Firefly, although we had so many wonderful streams coming up just before me. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, Firefly is the future, is this amazing tool that had just been released on a beta public for Adobe, and you're able to create text effects, recolor vectors, and so much more. You're able to generate new assets starting from prompts. In this case, you can start from a text and then generate an image. You can generate text effects or recolor vector. Those are available in the beta right now. Recolor vector just came up, so you will expect many of the one in exploration to also come up. There is a Discord channel that you can join up here in order to contribute if you want to and give your feedback. The team is making things happen literally on the go every day. So exciting. And I'll show you the way I've been using it so far. So I'm just going to go ahead and select text to image. This particular way of using Adobe Firefly allows you to create images just from text. And as I said, I'm just going to go ahead and press Ctrl V to paste the prompt from the brief. So those are Frances' word in the way that she envisions her business. And I'm just going to go ahead, after I paste it, and either press enter or click on generate, and you see that a few examples, it just usually take a couple seconds to merge the images together. We start to see even more sexy example of what we've seen before, and I absolutely love how all these curves are merging together, creating this very voluptuous or luxurious pattern. I love the color palette. I think you really see how beautiful is the black and the gold contrast with the red. Absolutely lovely. We're definitely going to download some of these. I'm going to show you what you can do with these images right here. Let me see in the chat if there is any questions so far. Alexander was like, a line left, please. Absolutely. You haven't used Express. Oh, we're going to use Express quite a lot today. Photoshop is my bread and butter, says Sam Peterson. Okay, so let's go ahead and Luis Madrigal, it's great for inspiration, but my imagination is way bigger than I have encountered so far. That's fantastic, Luis. For me, I just found that using, Gen AI, it's just a way of really brainstorm. It just really pushes my creativity even more. I'm not saying that the results are definitive for me in terms of, really exploring all my creativity, but I think that they give me more ideas to express more and research more. So it's literally like massaging my brain, massaging my eyes. Everything is happening together. Fantastic sensation if you're a creative. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and save some of these. I'm particularly in love with this one. I think is absolutely sexy. It's beautiful. So I'm going to go ahead and select download. If you've not experienced Adobe Firefly, I give you a little bit of a tour here. You can do different things. You can use this icon to show similar, so like to focus on one is particular images. You can give a feedback to the team, say, hey, is this okay or not? If it's positive, you can tell them more. Also, if it's negative as well. And you can explore all these different results. You can also, like I've just done, click on the little down pointing arrow to download it, or search the options in order to submit it to the gallery. Use it as a reference. Use it as a reference. Will basically pull the image of the side. We're going to do it in a second. Or you can just copy to a clipboard as well. You can refine your results by using different aspect ratios. So for example, if we're looking to use that for an Instagram story or something who's got a different ratio, you can go ahead and change the ratio here. I think we'll probably need 16 by 9, then we can rotate it. That will be perfect. So you can see that we can change the aspect ratio in a click without changing the prompt. So everything is there. Of course, you get, oh, look how beautiful they are. So I'm just going to download this other one over here. Of course, as you can see, we have content credentials that at the moment are still applied to our images, although using Adobe Firefly is very safe because all the seeds images are pulled from the Adobe stock library, so they're all licensed, but it's still a work in progress at the moment, as I said, until it is in beta. If you're using it, please use it by keeping the watermark there. And you can change not only the aspect ratio, but here on the right, really similar to what we were seeing in Adobe Express before, here we have all the settings that will allow you to customize and narrow down any of the results. So you can change the styles, you can change also, you know, not only the styles, and then you have the different options here. So for example, let's make these pop art. Let's see what the result is going to be generated. You can make it in cubism, you can change the light, you can change the composition, color and tone, and of course the content type into graphic, photo, art. So at the moment, this is quite a very abstract pattern, so not much is happening at the moment, but this is just a starting point of what we are creating here. Let's see if we can like make it psychedelic rather than pop art. We have a lot of colors in the description, so we are really making a description that is narrowing down what we are creating, and there's not much element here. Something that I was trying before was also perhaps to add and letter A in the middle in white. See what happens. You can add more details to the prompt, but that was just to give you a brief idea on how to use Firefly in your workflow. Look at that. Look at that. It's absolutely crazy what's going on in here. I love this. I absolutely love this. So I'm going to go ahead and click on find similar. I know that the letter A is pretty much being deconstructed in the pattern, but I love the movement of that. Oh, because we have the psychedelic on it. Of course. Of course, it's been all deconstructed and flying all over. I think that's really, really exciting. Let's go ahead and untick the psychedelic. And let's see what is going on here. If it gives us different results, and maybe we can use oh, that's really beautiful. Look at that. I'm just going to go ahead and keep downloading all these beautiful results. Okay, so once you are ready and you're done with your results, we can go back. As you can see now, I've downloaded it, and we can jump back in our Adobe Express. So as I said, I was still gonna go ahead and give a little bit of a thought about the name, and I'm gonna jump into Adobe Font to do so, but then we can come back in Express. I'm gonna go ahead and add another page. I'm gonna choose a custom size. In this custom size, I'm gonna make 1,000 by 1,000, and this is just gonna be for our like logo placeholder. Oops. And I'm gonna go ahead and click on done. So as you can see, once you add a new page here, we're still on the same project. I'm gonna go ahead and make sure that I use the right name of France's business, which is Ina Studio. So I'm gonna go ahead and add the name to my project. By the way, if that's the first time that you're working in Express, while you work in Express, everything that you created, it just gets updated and saved as you go. As you can see here, we have the little cloud that is already saved. Here we have multiple pages within the same document, within the same project. And then if you by mistake go back, or if your internet and your lights goes off, everything is saved here into the recent work. So your project is here. You can simply click on it and it will open up again, so you can keep working. Oh, looks like that there is a font that it was not available anymore. For some reason, it couldn't load it. Let's see if we can just replace it. Absolutely. I think that was the round Gothic. Okay, Alexander, try reading us the brief. What kind of company is it? What do they sell? Okay, Alexander. So I was reading it before, probably was going so fast. So France's business creates patterns, designs, and the color that I've used are because she's reducing her color pattern to black, gold, red, and orange pink. So she's a pattern designer. If you go back here, the business is not there yet. That's the why Alexander is not really defined. She creates patterns. You can see some of her drawing and illustrations alongside poetry. So she's an artist and she focuses on patterns. A lot of this is connected to nature. You can see a lot of brushes, a lot of bright color. This is a Maori art gallery, and there is a lot of these sort of illustrative style going into her drawings. A lot of gold, a lot of swirls, a lot of pattern, and this is the pattern, the imagery from the studio that I'm gonna be using as well. And I will say also that she uses a lot of inspirational quotes, so we're going to try to embed some of them as well into the post. But at the moment, it does look a little bit disconnected. We can see that, the logo shows up here with this lovely font, which I love. It's a sans serif, very clean. Here we have completely different colors coming. Those are part of her illustration. So she's starting now the business, and she just reached out to find a way to sort of bring it all this together so it makes sense. And I can give you a little bit of a heads up of what I've been creating, because we're gonna end up doing it together throughout this stream, but I think that gives you a little bit more of an insight. So this is the font that I landed on, and I'm going to show you how I've ended up here. But as I said, I haven't spent too much time. That's why I decided to focus more on Adobe Express. I will definitely usually spend time in creating a logo in Illustrator, like I've done in the previous stream of Design Fix. But we're dealing with someone who is a designer. She's in the process of designing it. She wanted something that it felt luxurious, curvy, and what was the other adjective? I think it was luxurious, curvy, and something. All I can remember is curves at the moment. Let's go ahead and see. Fluid. Okay, so fluid, luxurious, and curvy, and that's the reason why I landed on this particular font. And I'll show you how I found it. And in terms of social media, what I wanted to give her an idea of. So at the moment, what I would love to help Frances to create is a way of displaying her images that makes her branding memorable. So you can display different patterns, different texture. I will show you how to do all that. I just wanted to give a little bit of a heads up of the direction we're going for. You can start to bring in different color, different patterns, but you have this geometric cut in the way that you presented, this collage feeling to it, but always bringing back this geometric feel into it that sort of bring it together. So if you imagine all these posts put inside her Instagram, you can see how everything starts to take shape. Now, talking about the font, the way that I went about to find this font, which is, by the way, is called Tangier, and it's from Lipton Letter Design, is by browsing fonts.adobe.com. That is my place of finding fonts. So fonts.adobe.com has every other service like express.adobe.com, firefly.adobe.com, color.adobe.com. Every time that you're looking for a service from Adobe, is the name of the service.adobe.com. That's the way to that I used to remember it. So as you can see, you can find here, ooh, that's quite cute as well. You can start to find many fonts that are available for you. I love the details in this, but it looks a little bit too much static and strong for the voluptuous font that Frances is looking for. My first stop is to go ahead and choose all fonts, and then from there you can start to use all these filters on the left in order to narrow down your font research. Odari, what's up? Lovely to see you here. I've been following your stream behind the curtains while I was working. Alexander is saying, it looks like the style is more traditional. Yes, absolutely. And Sam is also pasting the link for fonts.adobe.com. That is the place that you can jump in order to follow along here with me. So what I've done here, it started by using the tags to narrow down. Our first request was luxury. So of course, you know, I just jumped there and went into luxury fonts. And oh, Italy, really cool. I've seen many of these which I adore, but they were missing the curviness and the fluidity that she was after. I love this kaleidoscope. I think that is very, very beautiful. I'm actually going to go ahead and show you how you can activate it real quick. You can activate all of them or just some of the font. In this case, I'm going to go ahead with the big. And you can activate it, and this is going to be available in InDesign, Illustrator, and Photoshop. I think is really, really cool. It's called Contralto. But you can go ahead and really get lost in the loophole. Oh, I love this Nautica. There's so many beautiful fonts that you can go ahead and browse. You can also, for example, if you're not sure what this is all about, you can just simply click on it, and then you can go ahead and type your text. So we can go ahead and type Anna Studio right away. You know, as I said, look at that. I really love this Fry Big Pro semi-bold. I think that's a really, really beautiful way of displaying it. I would personally go with something that is a little bit more simple because, and you know, I can just give my advice, but as we said, she's in the process of drawing it right now. So I will expect something that is more, you know, hand drawn. I will go with something a little bit more simple and elegant like this one, just because patterns usually are quite overwhelming. But, you know, it's not my business. It's their business. It needs to relate to her customers, which probably love having something that is a little bit more brushed. And that's why I decided that while I was browsing the font, that luxury tags wasn't necessarily matching the idea of luxury that we were going to match with this particular branding. I've done the same with brush pen, of course, calligraphic. There is another one that I think is called Wedding. Here it is. Those are a little bit more fluid fonts that you can explore. I actually don't remember which is the one. I'm glad that I saved the page, which I found Tangier. You know, that is the only issue. I always look at so much that then I tend to forget what was my path. Something that I've done here is also to narrow down the way that I want it to look, because we start to come across these fonts which are rounded and they are fluid and they are the sort of, you know, direction where Francis wants to go, but they tend to be too thin, and you do not want to use a font that is too thin for your branding, because otherwise it will get lost. Look, for example, this branding that I've created for Design FYI is nice and chunky. You can read it from far away, from here. Here it is. You want something that is bold, that is memorable, that you can see over and over again. Alexander is saying, I feel like aliens will one day document this kind of behavior in people. I know, that'll be so cool. Let me see if there is any other question. So let's go ahead and see more fonts. So again, I will stay away from anything that is too thin. And a way of doing so real quick is to start to implement more font classification. So in this case, I've added a heavier weight. For example, that was definitely something that will right away get rid of a lot of those thin fonts. And then I just kept going with my research. Oh, look, I found it. Yay! So that was my main thing. So I picked Wedding because I think that incorporated, you know, usually when you think about a wedding, you think about fluffy, puffy, luxury, beauty. And I thought that you know, gave much more than just the word luxury or calligraphic or stuff like that, which tended to be way too thin or way too structured. While this Tangier was nice and bold, but at the same time was very fluid and was very curvy, which were the requests from Francis. And then what I've done here, I activated my fonts. That means that if I do jump inside Illustrator, this is now available for me to have a play around, and we will create a pattern in about 10 minutes in Illustrator. Alexandra says we're going for curvy and fluid, so I think the type you choose with the arrangement of the letters of the word works really well. Alexander says I would have researched funky fonts. Well, let's go and have a look. I'm open to explore more. The fact that I find this one doesn't mean that we're stopping here. So funky is chunky, which is perfect. Oh, Alexander, I love your input. Look at that. Look at this Yink font. How cool is that? You can't get more fluid and curvy than this. I absolutely love it. Let's go ahead and put the Anna A. Let's see how it looks like. I'm just going to go ahead of the word, rid of the word studio. We can add that with a different font. I love the way that it's put together here. I'm not sure the legibility. Let's go ahead and make it a little bit bigger. I'm not sure that the legibility with the letter A and N and E together really works the same, just because the A, the N are so similar, but having the little swirl at the top and the little swirl at the bottom, I think it looks, I struggle to read it. Let me know what you think. At the moment, let me see if we can get like a capital A here. Let's see what it looks like. Again, I think that this is a very unique font. On paper, matches and ticks all the boxes, but in reality, with the actual letters, and let me know if that ever happens to you, because it's infuriating. So many times I found fonts that I absolutely adore, and when they're displayed and, you know, with many you know, different words or different letters that look perfect, then I go and start to type in and use the word that I need, and like in this case, they just end up not being usable at all. But we can still have a look and see if there is anything else. By the way, I still love that font. It just doesn't fit the purpose. This is beautiful as well. Definitely the opposite of what we're looking for. Yeah, it looks like those are ticking the box for the chunkiness. Let's have a look at this one. Oh no. And I can now easy and quick use the sample text to paste and see the text that I want. Again, I'm happy with it, but I'm not over the moon. I still feel that you know, that tangerine really gives me everything that I'm looking for in terms of, especially, I don't know what is it called. Let me know in the chat if you do know that. There is the little thing on the top here of the A that resembles what we had in the brief. Let me go back from Adobe Express to our brief for the letter that we have used, you know, like this little sign on top of the letter A. I think that we kind of retain that with this particular font. So once you pick the font, you can also simply open it right away inside Adobe Express by clicking in Try in Adobe Express, and this will open Adobe Express and will create a page with the logo on it. Boom, ready to go. And in this case, it's giving me a description as well. So there are a few things that we can do here. We can start the glyph. Yeah, the glyph looks like, I don't know what is it called for the alphabet. So the glyph is this part over here, which is an extension of the actual font. But what I'm struggling is the actual, you know, letter, alphabet letter with the, it's not an accent. I don't know what sign it is, but let's go back. As you can see how easy it is, we went through our search. By the way, there is so much more here. If you're struggling and you don't even know where to start with your research, you can always add it to recommendations or font packs. And recommendation are fonts that been you know, put in one place by the Adobe font team, so you can't go wrong. And same for font packs. Font packs is not only one font. And by the way, recommendations also has pairing, which I think is amazing. So you can see this fudge brownie, these fudge brownies in Halyard text, and then you have usual italic. So you have like more than one font put together. It really shows you how to, you know, if you're creating a book, if you're writing a magazine, if you need two different fonts, how to pair them together. While font packs has like literally packs of fonts that you can go ahead and explore. So here we have Bauhaus, we have International Art Book Fair, display font. Let's see if we have, ooh, synesthetic fonts to stimulate the senses. That's really, really cool. They're all like giving you a little vibes. They're so nice. Soft pop, and let's see if there is anything. Heritage craft, maybe that will probably is a pack that we will do. So you can go ahead, you know, those are just covers that will display the majority of the fonts that are inside of the pack. You can also, I love this font here. Let's see if we can figure it out which one it is. This one here. It's nice and rounded as well. I think it's this Victor script, maybe. Oh, it's the last probably. Anyway, we can go ahead and just here type our sample text, and see if there is anything that is really, you know, that's the last is quite nice. Although it's been overused, so I try to stay away from something that is, especially for branding, that has been seen over and over again. Okay, I think this so far that really incorporates the curviness. the fact that it's fluid. We have the swirl. We have the glyph that give us that macron. Thank you so much. I have no idea what it is. Luis, thank you so much for the help. And is legible, is bold, and is memorable. And I think it really gives all that idea that we're looking for. So that might be just an inspiration. As I said, Francis is working on the logo right now. So hopefully that gives her direction of what is, you know, a green flag or a red flag when picking her final logo mark. But now let's move forward, because what I wanted to do is to show how she can incorporate a branding. Branding is not about the logo. Logo is part of the branding. If you want to learn more, I have a full library on my website. I think like by running a business and creating brand for people, and I grow so frustrated of people not knowing what a brand is and just thinking that the brand is a logo, that I decided to create all this branding bundle, which is free for everybody, just so people get informed about it. In fact, I do start with a glossary so you can learn more. And, you know, if you don't know about it, it's absolutely fine. I just came from a place of working with clients that came to me and asked for a logo. Well, I'll show you today how you can really give and start to introduce a branding simply by creating styles. So a particular style that will represent your brand. So if you want to learn more, of course, as I said, I made this resource available. You have a branding glossary. This is actually a contract. If you want to create a brand for someone, you can download it. It's a standard contract, so definitely I'm not a solicitor. I'm not a legal person, so that's a standard contract that it just makes sure that you get paid and the person has to pay a deposit, and everybody is covered throughout the work with the agreement. And then a brand platform, which is the initial part of the branding. The brand is all about the soul. That's why my business is called Printmysoul. It's all about making a mark of the soul of someone's business. And that's what I'm going to try to do here. Here you have more mood board. Literally, there is a ton of documents for free here if you want to download it. It's all about branding. That is useful if you're presenting your branding, if you're creating your branding, or if you are just creating for someone else, if you're just a designer. And talking about that, I should have linked it here. I don't know why I've not done that. I was at Adobe Max last year, and I've done a talk that is all about branding. So should be here somewhere. Brand guidelines, here it is. And there is also one available for you, which I've not advertised anywhere, which is probably the first time that I'm sharing that, is on LinkedIn Learning. So if you go on LinkedIn Learning, and in the library, just type my name. You have all the different courses that I have on LinkedIn Learning, and you should have one about branding here as well. Branding Guidelines 101. Here it is. So this is a full course if you want to learn actually how to create the blending. Too many Kladis in here. Okay, so let's go back inside Adobe Express. I've saved these images. We're going to bring it in using here, and I'm actually going to do that real quick. So I've downloaded the images from Firefly, and like just to give you a sense and idea what we're creating, if I click into photos and then upload photo, we can go ahead. Oops. My cam is black at the moment. Let's see what happened here. I hope you guys can still hear me though. I know that. Let's go ahead. I hope you guys can hear me. I know that my camera went back. I turned it off at the moment. Alexandra say, you know what she's like, if you forgot what I look like, I'm gonna let my camera rest for a second because I just think that it overheated, but at least you can see me, and I can just perhaps just keep going like that. I think that should be fine for now. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start to implement the images here. So if you click on upload photo, and then you go ahead and we head back. Sorry, I got distracted by a camera panic for a second. If you go back here inside LinkedIn 2023, you will be able to find the assets that I downloaded. Let me see if I found it here. Sorry. camera panic got me distracted. Design fix. I was talking about the LinkedIn courses. So here we are. Episode today, we have Anna, and those are the assets that we downloaded from Firefly. So what I've done, I went into Firefly, input the name, which by the way, they are here, all the different adjective and part of the brief that our lovely Frances shared with us in terms of being luxuriate, fluid with curves, black, gold, red, and slightly orange pink are completely saved in here. So we can go ahead and simply pick one of these images and click on open, and you will see that the image is automatically redirected inside Adobe Express. And we can go ahead here, bring it in, and then thanks to these lovely layers, we can just simply bring the layer down. So we'll have the background underneath the name. Now, of course, the name is not very legible. We can perhaps start to use a white to start to bring a little bit more prominent. We have here the Adobe Firefly, which is still not ready for commercial use because, as I said, we are in beta. So we are still bringing images from Adobe Firefly, but we are using it with the little prompt here that let us know they're not for commercial use. So we want to make sure to retain that. But at the same time, we are bringing these amazing conceptual images here ready for us to be part of our creation, which is pretty amazing. Okay, I'm gonna give my camera a little go right now. Let's see if everything is back to normal. Here I am. I think it just lately overheated for a second. So here we are. And that was the way in which we brought together Adobe Firefly creation, literally by pasting what was the brief from Frances and from a color and from the look that she wanted to go for her brand alongside the actual logo. Now, if we head back to what I've prepared before, and look how easily I can move around the project. So here I have the project that I was working with before, and then the project that was open from Adobe Fonts, and then we are experimenting even more with what we brought in from Firefly. The whole idea of creating a brand that I was sharing with you before is that we do not necessarily have a logo. We know that Frances is painting, most likely creating that herself, but we can introduce the idea of a brand by simply reiterating a specific style. In this case, we can move forward by using this geometric shape and introduce the pattern. Now, I do not have access to all our patterns, but I definitely show you how you can, in the meantime, browse amazing pattern and effect thanks to the graphic and design assets inside Adobe Express. So to do so, I'm going to go ahead and just add another page. Now, the beauty of working with Adobe Express is that you can add multiple pages inside a document simply by clicking on add page, and then here you can choose either the same size. In this case, we can perhaps choose an Instagram post. We've done Instagram story here, that's what you've seen, or maybe we can let's go ahead and recreate one of the Instagram stories so you can see how to create this beautiful cut from scratch. Yes, Adari, I'm back. If the camera overheated, I'm just gonna go ahead and keep showing you the way that this wonderful app works. And by the way, I talked about app because this is available both on your mobile and your tablets. But if you are on a desktop, you can access it anywhere, anytime, simply by having your browser. So express.adobe.com. And I'm actually gonna go ahead and turn off my eating real quick because that's probably one of the reasons, because we're actually boiling in this room. Okay, so let's go ahead and move forward and explore these wonderful design assets. So here, if we move into the design assets, you see that we have trending one, which is many different categories that are already divided for you to make it easier to spot the one that you need. Graphic groups as shapes and assets, multiple assets at the same time. I always think that this is one worth to have a look at. Even if you don't use it, you'll always find something inspirational that you can use in here. In fact, I think that in one of my latest template that I've added here for Frances, I've used one of the graphic groups that something that was, I think it was just a picture, probably was nature, was not necessarily relevant with the topic, but you can customize it and you can just take advantage and take the most out of it, of this lovely graphic assets. But for now, let me go ahead and show you how you can access those patterns that I've used before. What I've done once I land here on design assets, if you don't find anything, although I will strongly recommend you to have all the different categories at hand and really explore them as much as possible, you can simply go ahead and use the design assets search bar in order to type your keywords. So in this case, I'm looking for a pattern because we know that we're focusing on pattern design. And here they are. So many beautiful patterns are available for you to use. So my eyes really caught my attention with this geometric one. And then we have graphic packs that contain pattern that also show and display here. So again, even if we have a picture just like this one, which features a person, we know we're not going to need that, but we can simply select it and then ungroup and delete the elements, like in this case, the person that we do not want, and we can retain the other element that we want. Something else that was part of a branding was the word gold. So at the moment here, that's what I tend to do. I tend to just create one board that has all the elements that I think I'm going to use, and then you can duplicate the boards and simply retain the one that you want. Hi Samantha in the chat, lovely to see you. Sam, I know that you're going to be super excited about that, but look at that. I'm wearing today a garment, a jacket with a logo that I've created during Design Fix. I literally been shipped from one of the Design Fix customers from Adobe Live. I have my own jacket. I'm really excited. I had to wear it today because I just wanted to see the full circle of this wonderful community and working together. So this is literally a logo. Let me go back into the landing. I really have to show off this design FYI, which was designed during an episode of Design Fix. Very exciting. Okay, so as you can see, there are a ton of pattern and there is a ton of assets that you can have here. Yeah, she's like, I know you're gonna love it. I'm so excited as well. And he's embroidered and he's orange and he's so cool and he's so nice and cozy. Okay, so I was so excited to have it shipped. So you can see here, not only we have pattern in a single shape, but you can find it also in a circular shape. You can find lines and so much more. This is so exciting. You can start to layer it up. But my advice and what I was showing in terms of creating a brand is the way that you display them. I'm just going to place a couple more and then I'm going to also start to talk about gold, because that was another element that was part of our lovely Francis business. And I'm sorry if this one seems mess. What I'm doing here, this is literally my bucket, because when I search, I see so many things that I know that they're going to be useful and they are so amazing here. So again, you can duplicate the pages. So even if this one looks messy, like literally contain it as, you know, I'm going shopping for amazing textures and patterns that then we can reuse for our graphics. So I'm quite satisfied by the amount of stuff that I have in here. Let me go ahead and jump into another page simply by clicking on this little contextual menu at the bottom where it says duplicate pages. So I'm just simply going to create a duplicate. The one that I created before is there, still there, saving everything, so I can start to clean up and delete the stuff that I do not need. So simply clicking on it, and then and then press on the delete key in order to get rid of the element that you don't want to use. I'm just going to leave that as a reference for now. And then I'm going to click and drag to start to reposition it. I want to create, again, some sort of a style that create a repetition. So I'm going to start by using a white border around, and then I'm going to use the crop and shape to start to cut some of the shapes into rectangles, because as I said, I'm looking to create a particular motif that has a geometric display of her pattern. So Francis can start to use her branding, and I'll go ahead and delete this one. She can start to use her branding by introducing her patterns inside geometric form. And here, for example, if you have a square and you want to cut into a triangle, you can also do so by using crop and shape. And here you can apply any of the shapes. In this case, I can apply a triangle. And by doing so, you will be able to literally use any of these patterns to fill in the page. Okay, so something else here that I can do is to go back to our first page where we had the logo. You can simply press Ctrl+C to copy, and you can paste element throughout the different mood boards. So I'm just going to go ahead and paste it. We know that it's in white. Again, remember, on the right side, you have the bar that will allow you to customize it. So here I can change the color into black, and I can, I kind of like the idea of having like the logo just on one column. As I say, this is just a placeholder for a logo, which is now in production. And I'm so excited, by the way, Francis, feel free to share it using the hashtag Adobe Live on Instagram. We're super excited to see how you're going to use all of that. And there is another way in which I want to show you how you can personalize and customize these patterns. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate it again. And I want to show you how to use that rectangular cut feature. I think that's the one where I had more questions. I'm going to delete all these other patterns. And I'm going to go ahead and use this one. This is a little bit bigger. And I'm just going to go ahead and rotate it as well. And how did I create that cut? So how do I get rid of this corner over here? Well, very simple. If you cannot subtract, you can add a shape and match the color of the background. So here I'm going to go ahead and use shape. I'm going to use a simple triangle here. And then I'm going to click on it and make sure that the fill is white. And also the border is white. So now I created a little triangle that I can start to move around and use in order to remove any area of the image that I don't want to use. So again, you can click and drag any part of the bounding box in order to resize it. And here it is. You can just simply move it around and you can mimic the idea of having that cut. And I'm just going to go ahead and bring this other element. Look how useful are these layers. They really help you to move around and select assets. And the same here, in this case, I can cut this element using the rectangle. So again, crop and shape will be the way to go to make sure that I have the white frame that goes across the top and all the other sides. And you can keep pasting over and over. Again, for example, let's go ahead and add a gold, because I know that was another request from Francis. So between the patterns, we want to add some of the gold areas as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and in the design assets, I'm going to go ahead and select gold. Again, I strongly recommend you to browse it, because here you have so many fantastic shapes and color that comes through it, but there is definitely more. If you look at the brushes, there is a brush that is all about metallic, so I would strongly recommend you to look at that. Now, if you think, okay, we introduced the gold, but we lost the border, absolutely not. We have the cropper shape, which I think is very, is being overlooked, because it's such a useful tool that will allow you to literally resize and use any sort of element exactly in the shape of the layout that you wish for your design. Here you can also use filters to change your colors. So for example, here we can introduce more colors and change it in order to match your color palette. So here we have it, that almost look like swatches. You can also, I just want to make sure to remember that when you're working with white background, you want to download your images. You want to make sure that you download it as a JPEG. Otherwise, you can download it as a PNG, but make sure do not use a transparent background when you're creating white borders. Otherwise, it will be transparent. And on Instagram, that looks like black. So it will not be the kind of vibe that you want. So again, there was an idea for Francis to create a brand and display a pattern and an art by using geometric shape. So that will allow her to really use that in all sort of social media and create a branding. Even if she doesn't have a final logo yet, she can start to introduce a rhythm in the way in which she display her work, her fantastic work. Again, big shout out to Francis. I'm going to go ahead and give her a follow. Francis, thank you so much for submitting your business for design fix. And I'm going to show you real quick. This is the form. I am Kladi.com/designfix. Please submit it. It's very easy. I'll get in touch with you on Instagram. I can tell you when we're going live. You can ask questions, and we're here to help. Adobe Live is giving the wonderful Alex and myself for 1 hour to design fix your business. So if you're starting a business, even if you're just starting out, you just want some inspiration, maybe we can create some mood board together. Also using Adobe Express, Adobe Illustrator, Firefly, Photoshop, all these amazing tools, part of the Creative Cloud subscription. Thank you so much much for hanging out with me today. It was absolutely fun as usual. Don't forget that this stream and all the other amazing streams available on Adobe Live are there for you on the Adobe Live YouTube channel. So go subscribe and join us for more fun here at Adobe Live. I will see you very soon. And for now, have a wonderful rest of the week. Goodbye, everybody.